This is actually a very personal tattoo for me. So I'm glad I get to do it now. Because Fallout's my favorite game. And this is a Fallout thing, so in case you didn't know. The great cons. I did not realize until I Googled it after I decided to get this tattoo, because I thought it looked cool, that they're just drug dealers. There's actually there's no like deepness to the gang, and they're actually bad guys. So it's a little embarrassing, but they have a really cool symbol, and that's really all it's about. And it's really, for me, it's not really about like people looking at it, Googling it, finding out what it means, and then applying that standard to me. That's not really what tattoos are about, so. I'm getting it over my New California Republic tattoo. The two-headed bear represents like the sort of attempt to re-control the west coast of America after the Chinese blow us up with nukes. Maybe we even blew ourselves up. I don't think the story is completely clear. It probably actually is completely clear, and I just showed you that. I don't know anything about the game. For anybody who does, my bad. But I got the NCR tattoo when I was in the Air Force, because I thought like military stuff was cool. So I'm playing Fallout, and here's like the military faction, and they're like a big deal in the game. So I'm like, cool, I'm gonna like pick them. And I had money, and I was gonna get a tattoo, but I didn't know what to get. So I just thought for a second, and then got that. And then everybody sees it and just thinks it's a regular California bear, which is super embarrassing. Just have a California bear tattoo. It's not that embarrassing, because I like get to think how stupid this person is for seeing a two-headed bear and not recognizing that it has two, like, just, you know, you get to find out who the cool people are and who the idiots are, and that's fun. But now I'm just gonna go ahead and put this on top of it. I already did a little graffiti on the wrist that says Tunnel Snakes Rule.
Tunnel Snakes Rule.
Hans graffiti. And then you can still see the two heads in the star, so it's still like, what is this covering? Yeah, I think it's gonna be dope. It is gonna be a little weird because it's not over bear skin, it's over a bear, like brown on my, like a discoloration. But it's not, the brown isn't that far off from my skin color, despite what the liberal media would have you believe. So it's gonna come out, it's just gonna look like a little bit, it's not gonna look perfect, obviously, because it's like painting something that you didn't prime, you know? It's gonna like show through any pattern that was before. But since there's no, in any representation in the Fallout series, a clean representation of the Great Khan's logo, it's always like fucked up or dripping or something weird like that. This will match up actually really nicely to the apocalypse look. I actually just started doing 5 pokes per dip instead of 10, and it works so much better. I was wrong to tell you 10, my bad. Apparently 3 is even better. And apparently if you dip every time you poke, it's the best, but that first poke that you do always has a little bit too much ink on it, and it leaves like a bigger puddle on top of your skin, then you can't see the stencil, so that's why I like to like sort of spread it out, come back, go back over. I don't know, it works better for me, but we're all different. At least that's how I like to do it before. Now, 5 pokes per dip is a good happy medium. Drugs were bad, like that's a bad thing, right? And you know, they're just neutral things. They're not, I mean, if they make you feel good, that's a good thing, I guess. Feeling good is good. But that doesn't make the drugs good. You know, that's why it doesn't really matter, this part. What's important is I thought they were bad. Then now I'm in the military, and then I start finding out about like how fucked up the military is, and like how kind of good drugs would be if I could use them, but I'm not allowed to, so I didn't, because I saw people go to jail for just smoking weed in the military. That's what happens. If you like piss test and you get it, you're out. But so then I'm trying to get out of there, and I'm like, this place kind of sucks. I gotta get out of this fucking camo. This is weird, and it just clashes with my eyes. So when I got out of the Air Force, I was like, cool, let's use some drugs. Not that that's like a part of my identity or anything. I didn't do any hard drugs like the great cons were doing. But covering up the NCR tattoo with a stick and poke great cons tattoo is a really nice way to symbolically represent that particular transformation in my life. And that is how I like to do tattoos. You first meet the great cons. I think they've taken some people hostage, and the NCR is trying to get them to figure it out. And then the best thing you can do is like negotiate between them and get them a peaceful release. I don't think holding hostages is a good idea, or is it right? I think it's actually very wrong. But those damn colonizers, the NCR, aren't exactly doing anything better. So, but in that exact scenario, it's not like either one of them is better. Well, I mean, that's not, I don't even think that's the right, it's I think it's better to hold 4 people hostage than colonize the entire West Coast. Not that I'm against colonization. There's some of it's good. I mean, it depends. It all depends. NCR has a lot of guns. Again, a neutral thing. Never mind, let's go with it. Oh man, what if they're like white supremacist? I mean, cons is Asian, so that's like so-so, right? But this helmet with the spike on the top is really starting to make me think they have some Nazi vibes. But I don't think I can go back. Maybe if I turn the spike into one of those little fans, like a propeller hat, you know what I mean? Maybe that would work. Let me Google this really quick before I finish this tattoo. Are the great cons Nazis? Let's see. You don't ask Google, because they'll tell you lies. Always ask DuckDuckGo. Great cons, Fallout wiki fandom. The only people who would care and who would know are Fallout fans. Anybody else would just be like, what? What are you even whining about? So let's see. They might, let's see. They are a raider tribe, and raiders are sadists, which isn't good. So apparently for a long time, the Great Khans basically ruled the wasteland because it was the only organization. It was the first organization in the post-apocalypse. Basically just drug trafficking, but the NCR decided to cut off the head of the serpent and mounted an assault on Bitter Springs. So whatever that means, the serpent is very traditionally like anti-state, individualist sort of symbology, hence like the Gadsden yellow flag, the don't steppy on snaky. So that's pretty cool. Not that I'm into that stuff, but so when in that battle, when the NCR fought back against the Great Khans because the Great Khans were just going around taking all the NCR shit because they were like badasses. Like, never mind, we won't get into comparisons of other races, but the NCR went into the Great Khans camp and killed all of their women and children. So that is pure evil, really, really horrific. I should put X over the eyes probably of this bear that I have because that's really evil. And that is another good reason to get a Great Khans tattoo. So now they're just basically ex-warrior drug addicts because they have so many drugs and they have no women or children. They just have chaos and their memories. So that's sad. I don't necessarily like that, but in story I stand with. The spike on the helmet is pretty mellow. Let me actually Google Nazi helmets to see if there's a base connection that anybody could make on accident. Because it doesn't look like the Great Khans are anything bad in theory, but in the depictions I would really hate. Okay, no. The German helmets didn't have spikes. Who had the spike helmet? Spike war helmet. spike war helmet. Germans in World War One, which isn't necessary, that's not good. We don't support that. It's a lot, yep. That's what it was. It was for Germans in World War One. I remember this from history class. Those spikes would get tangled up in barbed wire, and it would really suck. Yeah, that is actually really unfortunate. Not completely, but it's pretty unfortunate. But the spike that is the German World War One helmet, the only other reference on the DuckDuckGo search image is a Great Khan's helmet. So it must be somewhat based off of this damn German thing. But the thing is, it doesn't just have that one spike. I'm luckily realizing it has the two horns on the outside too. So it's a triceratops. It's not, we really don't have to worry that it's, yeah, we're good. It might even be Turkish, if anything. Which, again, I don't necessarily support, but that's cool. They're evil. They're bad guys, but so is the NCR, and I have a tattoo of them. And everybody, if you would get triggered by this, I would just bring up a little history lesson from Fallout and tell you that, by the way, they were an incredibly oppressed group. They weren't just raiders the whole time. They've actually gone through a lot of struggles that maybe you don't know about, so. If you haven't had your women and children killed by the NCR, maybe check your privilege. That's all I'm gonna say. And I'm gonna get right back to that horn because I am at it with a renewed vigor of this is a dope tattoo. But this touched my desk. Normally I wouldn't do anything about that, but since it's on video, I have to throw it away and get a new needle. It's all good, we're safe. Don't get me in trouble. Yep. I'm going to put the horn right on top. And if anybody says anything, I will say, why are you looking so closely at my skin?